Hi Sagittarius, welcome to your September 2021 Taroscope with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, my readings are for your sun, moon and ascendant signs. So whether you're a sun, moon or rising sign Sagittarius, this is for you. And I always advise that you watch all three to get a clearer, more complete picture of how they're going to speak to you. With that said, remember they are general readings, so not everything's going to resonate with everybody, and that is just fine. You should always use your own discernment. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So, for your actions and interactions with the world at large in the month of September, you get the King of Wands, right? So in some way, shape or form, you, my dear Saggy, show up as yourself, right? So the King of Wands, usually a fire sign male, but can just as easily be a fire sign person. So Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, this is an aspect of you, right? This is a part of you that shows up here in your actions and interactions with the world at large. I wouldn't expect anything less than pure authenticity from you guys. You know, truth be told, sometimes you're a little bit too honest as well, which I'm sure you've all heard over a lifetime. But one of the things that I like about this is it suggests that not only are you putting yourself forward this month, but it's almost like you're not afraid to be seen. Like whatever you have to say this month, you're going to be saying it in stellar fashion. I will go as far as to say that this could also be a month where you're rediscovering or repackaging your own brand of courage in some way, shape or form. Like in a lot of ways, Sagittarius, like you'll lead if you have to. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like, well, if nobody's gonna do it right, I'll do it my fucking self. But outside of that, you like your freedom and autonomy way too much to be kind of bogged down with that leadership sort of energy. Most of the time it's kind of thrust upon you in some way. And this month I could, the way that I actually feel this is going to happen, it's going to be you saying, actually, you know what, I'm going to lead this, I'm going to head this because there's nobody else to do it, or there's no one to do it the way that I feel it needs to be done. So you're taking a burden onto yourself this month, and it probably won't feel like a burden. It feels more like a labor of love here. I feel like this is something, you know, in that regard. One thing that I love about this as well, it suggests that you're bringing your fanny back, right? So it's about time. For your communications and conversations, you've got the Moon card. I mean, you've got this right next to you, right? Now, communications are going to be wonky this month anyway. Mercury's going retrograde, you know, he's doing his thing, or they're doing their thing. One of the things that I will say to you though, the Moon card in the communications can, especially with the King of Wands, how you mean something this month, no matter how funny you think it is, I'm going to say this to you, read the room. You know, what might feel funny and on point or on target to you may either be really offensive to somebody else, or you might find this month that you get kickback from places, areas or people that are usually totally on board with everything that you say. And if that's the case, and I have to say this, I'm sorry, because it's the Moon card and, you know, we are talking about your style of communicating as well. I would consider that maybe you're pressing a button that is either off limits, or it's not so much that maybe you don't know what you're talking about, or maybe there's something like if somebody that usually is, you know, is like a ride or die, really backs you up, suddenly turns on you and, you know, the claws and the fangs come out and they really go in for you, you've missed something and you haven't read the room. That's the way that I feel like this might come up, so just be careful. Now, when it comes to for those of you that work for somebody else, you're not getting the full story this month. And as such, I would be very conscious when it comes to work because I don't want to say somebody's out to get you, but it kind of feels like someone's going to try to use something that you say in a way that could be damaging for you, or for the way that you come across, right? And especially like if there's any form of middleman here, this could be another thing. If somebody kind of, you know, goes in for something that you say, be careful that you're not being filtered in some way, because, you know, if somebody's editing you and what you're saying, and it comes across in a certain way, like obviously, you know, you're going to bear the brunt of it. Be careful with that. For those of you that work for yourselves, business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, I got to be honest with you, if I were you this month in that regard, I would let people do what they're supposed to be doing. So if you have employees, this would be a really good month to only step in when you have to. For those of you that are retired or no longer working, I mean, you be thinking a lot. I'll just say this: you're going to be thinking a lot about what you're saying. And for some of you, if there's something like almost like something that you're trying to present or wanting to present, it might not come across in the way that you're hoping. So you, again, like with family members, especially for those of you that are thinking about staging an intervention with a family member, it might come across more as an attack this month than an actual intervention, no matter how much you explain. Just be cautious of that. For your heart and half, for those of you that are single, or rather for those of you that are in long-term relationships, this could be the month where you decide to get married, where you decide to take the relationship to the next level. For some of you, those of you that are already married, for those of you that are already married, there's something here where you are officiating something to do with the relationship. Now you add to this the Moon card. It's really weird. Like, in one respect, I kind of feel like this could be almost like you and your partner are either hiding or being hidden or being denied something. And then for those of you that are single, I mean, it's the Hierophant card, right? So this suggests that a relationship could be formed this month, and quite a powerful one at that. Now, because the Moon card is here as well, and we've got that powerful full moon in the sign of Pisces, one of the things that I really want you to be aware specifically of this month, a matriarch, patriarch, vatriarch of the family may need some sort of help and or assistance this month. For your money and materials, you've got the Six of Cups. This is an opportunity that is back on the table. I'm really, really liking this for a lot of you, but it's something that comes through your network, through the people that you already know. This could be somebody calls you in to do some work alongside what they're doing. This could be, you know, an old idea that now is suddenly possible. Something that you've applied for previously, maybe that you never heard anything back from. Maybe you didn't get a... you know, anything, like maybe a job that you applied for but you never heard back. This month you could get the go ahead for that. Now, when it comes specifically to your money and your finances, for some of you this could be an old debt that resurfaces, and I say this because you've got this right next to the Hierophant card. The other thing that I want to say as well, for some of you, this could be the partner's finances in some way, shape or form. Maybe you're having to assist them, or maybe you're having to join forces even more so on that level. If you're single, it's likely to be like an old debt or something that resurfaces. Now, for those, when it comes to your physical health and vitality, Six of Cups, in terms of its bodily association, is going to be your reproductive system. For some of you, this could literally be you looking into fertility stuff, maybe taking a trip to a hospital around that kind of thing, very possible. when it comes to your home and environment. The Six of Cups is nice for home and environment, especially with the Hierophant card, because this is you laying down roots, right? Like literally laying down roots. But for some of you, this will be a return to a place that you used to live, or maybe a consideration of, you know what, maybe it's time to go home. For your first week of the month, you have the Death card, right? So that's very interesting. All right, now consciously, you are leading a completion. You're phasing something out, but this could just as easily be you deciding to enact some sort of personal fantasy. This could be across the board, right? Now, because it is the first week of the month, and it is right underneath the I was going to say the Emperor then, and it is right underneath the thing. On the wider world stage, we could see the death of a celebrity or, you know, a famous person, a well-known person, very possible. On a more personal level though, because it's underneath your, you know, your personal card, I get the sense that you're ready to let something go, or to stop doing something finally, which is, you know, very powerful. For your second week of the month, you've got the World card with the, yeah, it's really weird because it's only in the second half of the Zodiac videos that the geological stuff seems to be coming in, and that for me feels like an interruption. So if you've been with me long enough, you know, when I talk about an interruption, it's Tarot's way of saying this is going to happen on the wider world stage, and I wonder if this is the case, especially because it's underneath the Moon card, and the Moon card isn't just about the moon. It's very often about the water. There's something happening. I feel like it will be like a hurricane, a typhoon, you know, possibly a wave, but I'm not sure about that one. But, you know, I think we're definitely seeing more of that stuff. And obviously at the time I'm filming these, we've just had the disasters in Haiti, which are awful, you know, and all the others as well. But it's really interesting that this comes up. Now, in your personal community or your locality, do expect disruptions in communications, do expect disruptions in the supply lines. All right, so just something to consider. Your third week of the month, you have the Temperance card. Right underneath the Hierophant, that is literally a healthcare professional. Or a hospital. So a loved one this month may be spending some time in a hospital. I truly hope that I'm wrong on that one, but you know, with the third week, it's possible. With your fourth week, you have the Devil card, and this is right underneath the Six of Cups. Sometimes we need to release our rigid ideas or beliefs about something, right? So it looks like in the fourth week of the month, you're going to be kind of faced with some aspect of yourself that refuses to let something go, and you're going to have to work through it, right? Let me get more specific. The lens of the past and how it affects our present is really down to how much we have processed and how much we've done that work. This month you may have to do that, and it may be that you're having to, especially if it's like an elder, right? If you're having to maybe assume control of somebody's finances, or if you're having to, you know, like a grandparent or a parent goes to hospital, who's going to look after the house, who's going to do, you know, all of that stuff. It might be thrust upon you. That's one way that this could show up. Another way that it could possibly happen as well, you might find, yeah, you might just, like I said, you might find that whatever it is that comes up this month, it might be something that you feel like you'd actually already dealt with. And when it does, you're going to be like, whoa, okay, this is actually really triggering me. That fourth week of the month, watch out for it. Your new moon message is the Gate 64 and confusion. This card actually, for me, always suggests coming back into here, right? Into your own third eye. That's what the symbol is on there. And it's always to say that, so this new moon might be the time where this is highlighted to you. Something from your past comes up and you're like, wow, shit. I don't really know how to deal with this. I don't really know how to process this. you will find a way, but I think this new moon is going to be quite intense for you guys, which is interesting because for most people, I know it's going to be quite a heavy new moon anyway, but I'm intrigued to see. When it comes to your full moon message, you've got the gate 17 and opinions. And you see this, how you've got the double, right? It's a reflection. There's something about this full moon that is going to highlight to you, and it might be about this, right? So like I said, read the room. It might be that this full moon highlights to you where maybe you are diametrically opposed to something or someone. Now I'm going to give you a really good example here. And I think this is wonderful. I know two guys that dated each other. One was a Muslim and one was a Jew, right? And that in itself just shows you can be who you are. You can have a completely different thought process or belief system or whatever to somebody else and still love them for who they are. If you can't, I'm sorry to say, there's something about you that doesn't know how to do this right. That's as much as I will say on it. And that full moon, I think, is really going to highlight to you where maybe you and somebody else are just very different, and you're either going to be okay with it and on board, or you won't. But you're going to be very, very clear on how you move forward. I think that full moon is going to do a lot for everybody, and in essentially some really great ways. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic month. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, and I'll see you soon.